Hey there, internet friends. Welcome to another episode of That D Plus Show. Classes in session for the only show from that nerdy site that lets you know what kind of quality to expect right from the name. I'm your host, Trevor Starkey, and each week we dive into a different Disney Plus offering and discuss its history, how it holds up today, and our general impressions. Joining me this week, we have Cameron Abbott. How you doing, Cameron?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's going on is today we are talking about Doctor Who. We're back in Doctor Who land. We're going to be doing the first couple episodes of this latest season of Doctor Who since it debuted a week plus ago, and we basically have a couple weeks to back up now. It's going to be The Robot Revolution and Lux. The first couple episodes with new companion Belinda Chandra, or Miss Belinda Chandra. If you like the show, we would love it if you like, subscribe, rate, review, share the podcast with your friends, all that fun stuff. Why did we pick it? Because we're doing some Doctor Who in between Marvel and Star Wars. Obviously, Andor also kicked off this week, but rather than jump in and do 3 episodes of Andor immediately, it was like, let's try and manage 2 episodes of Doctor Who first. The history lesson here, Robot Revolution originally released April 12th, 2025. Lux, April 19th, 2025. Season 2 as a whole is running April 12th through May 31st, 2025, for a total of 8 episodes. These episodes have a runtime between 44 and 46 minutes, keeping it nice and consistent across the pair. In the Doctor Who timeline of things, we had kind of this latest era, the Disney Plus era, if you will, debuted back in 2023 with the specials, including The Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and The Giggle, followed by The Church on Ruby Road. And we had Series 14/Season 1, which was 8 episodes running through May and June of last year. We had last year's holiday special, Joy to the World, featuring Nicola Coughlan, which we did a That D Plus show on, and Series 15/Season 2 running here April and May. And that's all we know about thus far.
Yeah.
Word has it that Russell T. Davies has been, writing up a 3rd season here, but it is unclear if the show is going to be moving forward with Disney Plus kind of in this deal, or what the status is. It sounds like latest reports are that Disney / the BBC will be making an official decision on the future of the series after this season has aired.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe the most uncertain that the Doctor Who has been in this recent era, which has been going for about 20 years. We're in the 20th anniversary-ish of the rebooted version of the series.
And this is I would say that, this is the Disney Plusified is the second biggest reboot aspect of the current era. So it'd be a real shame for it to end so soon. Mm-hmm. But also, when was this deal made? Is this an Iger? Like, which of the Bobs made this deal, etc.? Like, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to dealing with the corporate machine that is Disney, not to mention dealing with the aspects of BBC, and there's a lot that goes into Doctor Who as like a show that is also bigger than that. Also, like, I saw some report that like Nishidi might be like not up after season 3. Like, his contract might have been for 3 seasons, and he might be done after 3 seasons.
Yeah,
which totally fair.
It's been the common tenure of a Doctor in this modern age.
About 3 to 4. How did anybody hit 4 seasons? Tennant, I thought, hit 4, didn't he?
No, Tennant did. Tennant did 3, and then like that year of specials. No, actually, sorry. Three seasons, and then the year of specials, and then he came back and did obviously the 14th Doctor stuff. Because he did a season with Rose, a season with Martha, a season with Donna, and then the 4 specials, including his like finale stuff. Matt Smith did 3.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Peter Capaldi, I believe, did 3.
Jodie Whittaker
did 2.5/3. Like, one of them was obviously the pandemic era version. So 3 years has been, apart from
Eccleston.
Eccleston has been kind of the norm. And how long that 3 seasons takes has varied depending on production.
I think that's where my
like
confusion of it is, right? Like, how long is, because another thing also is like it's British television, so it goes in series.
Yeah.
And so there's not like a set time frame for television, like spring or fall. We've had like the consistency of the specials, like Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, there really hasn't been like it's just not how they operate.
Yeah, I was watching the Doctor Who Unleashed for these couple episodes, which is basically like the making of the episodes. And for the first one, for the Robot Revolution, they were filming that the week that the Star Beast aired. So the week that like the first David Tennant episode kind of came back on, they were already filming season 2 of Shooty's stuff. So in sense of like the timeline of their stuff. So yeah, it is the fact that like the production hasn't started on a next season already.
Yeah,
is very much a like if a next season does happen, it's probably going to be 2027 before that comes out because of production schedules and whatnot. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see where that all shakes out. Our roll call here, the who's who of the project. We have a pair of directors for these 2 episodes. Peter Hoare directed The Robot Revolution, who's directed various projects going back to 2002, including his one other Doctor Who episode, a very notable one, A Good Man Goes to War, in the Matt Smith era.
Damn, that's a great episode.
Yeah. He also directed a variety of Daredevil / Iron Fist / Defenders episodes, some episodes of The Umbrella Academy, and he did The Last of Us. He did specifically Long Time, which was the Bill and Frank episode of last season. And he is also directing this upcoming weekend's episode, dealing with the fallout of the first couple episodes here of season 2. So I'll be interested to see how that shakes out. So I thought it was very funny, kind of the timing of his Doctor Who versus The Last of Us here. And then Amanda Brochi directed the episode Lux, with various credits going back to 1996, including Neighbors, Girl Boss, Gentleman Jack, and Renegade Nell. Show that we did, short-lived Disney Plus show that we did an episode on last year, or a couple years ago now. I don't know. Russell T. Davis wrote both of these episodes, and of course is the showrunner of the series, having previously worked on Queer as Folk, Casanova, the original rebooted run of Doctor Who, Torchwood, and the Sarah Jane Adventures. Then our cast of characters here, we have, of course, Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, having been the 15th Doctor since 2023. He's also been in Sex Education and the Barbie movie. And Virada Setu as takes over as the companion here, Miss Belinda Chandra, previously / currently in Andor. And she was also notably Mundy Flynn in last season's Boom.
Yep.
And she was also in Jurassic World Dominion. And then reprising her role from this new era, we have Anita Dobson is kind of now she's doing the pop-up cameo in every episode.
Breaking the fourth
Flood,
wall.
Breaking the fourth wall, talking directly to us. Yeah, now in Lux is the first one that cements that she also seems to be able to time travel. So I'm sure we will talk a little bit about her. But she's most notably from the British series EastEnders. And then a couple members of the cast of Robot Revolution. Johnny Green playing Alan Budd. Has a handful of credits going back to 2016, including a lot of the Doctor Who. They're listed on IMDb as podcasts. I don't know if they're like the Big Finish series, but it's basically like The Lives of Captain Jack, The War Master, Ronnie Takes on the World, and Torchwood. The story continues. He's been involved in that space, doing a lot.
Like these are like the radio plays, like the.
I mean, they're listed. IMDb lists them as podcast series, so I don't know if they're the Big Finish radio plays or if they are another spin-off thing of if they're like a lesser version. But yeah, they're basically affiliated Doctor Who stories.
Sure.
And then Evelyn Miller is Sasha 55. Nothing particularly of note in her backlog, but she has miscellaneous credits going back to 2013. And then in Lux, of course, we have the great Alan Cumming as Mr. Ring-a-Ding. known from GoldenEye, X2, X-Men United. He previously appeared in the Jodie Whittaker era of Doctor Who as King James. He's in Schmigadoon, and most recently he's been running around as the host of the Netflix series, The Traitors, wherever The Traitors airs, that reality show thing.
I have no idea.
Yeah. And he was one of the surprise announcements in the long running shot of chairs for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Reprising his role as Nightcrawler. So it'll be interesting to see him back for the first time since X2, because he basically did the makeup in X2 and was like, never again. But they apparently have found a way to make that a much smoother process for him. And then also in the episode Lux, we have Linus Roach. He plays the role of Reginald Pye. He has credits back to 1976, including notably Thomas Wayne in Batman Begins. In the brief little flashbacks we get with him. He's also been in Law & Order, Coronation Street, Vikings, and Homeland. A little bit of trivia here from each episode. In the Robot Revolution, Doctor describes his double heartbeat as padam padam, this being a potential deliberate reference to the Kylie Minogue song. She, of course, starred in Doctor Who back in the Voyage of the Damned 2007 special, and we saw notably in last year's Rogue episode the Doctor lip-syncing to and loving some Kylie Minogue. So,
also, padam padam is... Oh, never mind. I mixed that up with something else. We're good.
Yep.
Sorry.
It was the episode Boom that inspired Russell T Davies to cast Verada Satu as Belinda. She wasn't initially going to have a bigger role, let alone become a companion on the show. But during post-production of Boom, he was very impressed by Satu's performance and started to regret that he didn't get to write more stories for her, until he remembered that it happened in Doctor Who before that, with certain actors appearing in other roles before being brought on as companions.
Peter Capaldi famously was in Pompeii.
I mean, Martha Jones was in was a background performer before she became Martha Jones. Karen Gillan was also in Fires of Pompeii, I believe. Pompeii. No, she was in the vampire one. The Rivers of Venice or whatever that one was. But yeah, basically a lot of people have been on the show prior to becoming a companion, or yes, the Doctor. So yes, he basically was like, oh wait, yeah, we could do that. And so he took it to the crew, the production team, and kind of put it to a vote, and they basically all signed on. Was like, yeah, she was great. As I said earlier, the companion series Doctor Who Unleashed revealed that production on this episode started Thursday, November 30th, 2025, 5 days after the series had returned with The Star Beast. And across both episodes here, the apocalyptic event that is scheduled to take place May 24th, 2025, is actually the same day as the penultimate episode of this series broadcast.
Interesting.
So I imagine, it's probably going to be like a two-parter, and we've reached the next to last episode. It's the end of the world time. How are we going to come back from this kind of thing? A little bit of trivia from Lux. While Rock Hudson is a period-appropriate actor, he never appeared in a film called The Harvest Bringer, which of course was fabricated just for the Harbinger reveal. The Let's Get Dressed for the Time Period scene is an almost shot-for-shot match of the Doctor and Ruby getting dressed for the 60s back in the Devil's Cord episode of last season. And then, of course, we have a ton of little Easter egg nods to Doctor Who's history in the very meta fan scene that we have that confused the shit out of Cameron when he watched it.
Yeah.
Including one of the characters is holding a replica of the Third Doctor's sonic screwdriver. One is obviously wearing the Fourth Doctor's scarf. One is wearing the 11th Doctor's fez. The fez one is also wearing a t-shirt with the Telos Cybermen from the Second Doctor, that being on Lizzie's sweater. Robin is wearing the Meep on their shirt. Hassan's hoodie has the unit logo on it. We have, of course, the little,
Yeah.
verbal tete-a-tete between what's the favorite episode, Blink
Blink.
versus When He Met Goblins, aka Church on Ruby Road, Meeting the Beatles, aka The Devil's Chord, or Stepping on a Landmine, aka Boom. I thought the
Yeah.
call out of like everybody being like, oh yeah, Blink's the best, Blink's our favorite,
Yeah.
being such the fun meta commentary of that being constantly at the top of Whovian fan lists. In the background, a little nod to this era's Shooty's adventures. There's a Fine Time poster as a nod to the Dot and Bubble episode. Fine Time was the city slash
Yeah.
location in that episode, and it's got the like life-size face hugger creatures that were the the baddies in that episode, or the goodies because they were killing the baddies, I guess.
Yep.
And then there's lots of fun among the mugs of the characters. Lizzie's is another nod to Blink with Weeping Angel on one side and Lizzie Don't Blink written on the other. Robin's has a nod to the Daleks and says, Robin will be hydrated. And Hassan's has K9 and affirmative Hassan mug as a nod to the Robo-Dog on it. Miss Flood makes a mention of the limited run, also lining up with the May 24th kind of near end of this series. And lastly, this is one that it's like, is this a production like, oh, they like the poster fit for both these episodes, or is this one of those like secret trends that we're already catching of like a Bad Wolf or a Saxton kind of thing? But in Alan's room in the Robot Revolution and in the film projection room here of Lux, there is a poster for a 60s 50s era science fiction movie called Rocket to Venus. Which is very much the like inspiration / influence for the Robot Revolution, sci-fi world, and then it being a cheesy B movie of the 50s kind of era makes sense, would fit in the 50s timeline of Lux. So maybe it's just, oh, we've got this poster made up, we can just kind of have it in both these scenes, or maybe we're gonna see more Rocket to Venus parallels later in the season. Who knows? Anyway, so that's what I pulled in together for these couple of episodes. Cameron, what did you think of the Robot Revolution and Lux, the first 2 episodes of this new season?
I thought it was an interesting start. I really appreciated the kind of framing of Robot Revolution. We get the star, like it's clearly like a really bad boyfriend that we literally learn tries to become a bad fiance.
Yeah, like he's a bad guy and we don't like him in that opening scene because he's overbearing. And then when we find out, yeah, he's just full-blown incel. And they call it out, Planet of the Incels. Is like, yeah, okay, yeah, screw this guy. He was always bad. We didn't like him. Cool.
What I thought was interesting though is that I started paying attention to it because it's like every 9th word it skips over.
Yep.
And like, oh, he wants to die. He's in tremendous amounts of pain. Like obviously does he deserve it? Yeah, he kind of did this whole hostile takeover thing of this peaceful planet. And he totally sucks. But I thought it was interesting that there was like a moment of empathy from Belinda. I think that Belinda at first I was like really pissed off by her because she like turns on the robot and like puts everybody at risk in the resistance at risk because she like turns on the tracker basically. And it's like, there's other ways you could have done that, Belinda. This is just really bad. But later that scene with her and Alan for me does like redeem that a little bit, but it's still like a stupid moment for somebody who clearly is very smart. Like, she's a nurse. She works really hard. She cares a lot about her patients. I really appreciate a lot of her character. But that moment for me was just like, I'm like, there's a cognitive dissonance here between what the plot demanded and like what this character should be smart enough not to do.
Does anybody die after she turns it on?
Yeah, but all of like 2 people die. But like 2 people.
I thought she like immediately kind of jumps in, is like, no, like I brought them here. take me.
I might be wrong then. Yeah.
It's I wasn't watching with like an eye to that, so I could be wrong as well. But I feel like she did it with the plan of she's going to try and be the peace breaker of this. She knows she has to sacrifice herself so this war will end and nobody else will get hurt. And that's the way she goes about it, is turning on the little polish robot. But you could be right. It could be a choice made for action's sake more so than the character's sake.
Yep. It just seems like a really dangerous and dumb thing to do. But hey, it worked out in the end, I guess.
Sure.
Then later you have the second episode I enjoyed way more. I mean, I would.
Yeah, let's focus on the first episode.
Robot Revolution. I thought overall cool. It's a cool kind of introduction to a new companion. I appreciate that like there's the time blip and like there's now like a like function of like, oh, we can't get in there to do that because it's been bubbled for some reason. Mm-hmm. We have to go the long way around. I also like that she outright calls out the doctor like, I'm not like,
I didn't consent to you taking my DNA. What are you doing?
Yeah, like calling out the doctor for his like whimsical violations of her privacy and life. It's like, oh, okay, cool. We finally have somebody being like, hey, it's actually not cool for you to do this.
Yeah, I like I think one of the complaints I saw a lot was that Ruby Sunday was very like buddy with the doctor and they just never really butt heads. So I like that this does have a more of a Donna doctor kind of feel to it, of like, she doesn't want to be here. She didn't want to go on this adventure in the first place. This isn't, somebody got swept up into the doctor's life. This was, she got abducted and the doctor rescued her and she wants to immediately go home, but she doesn't get to because of whatever thing is happening back on May 24th, 2025, that seems to have destroyed the world and has, the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty and a London cab, floating through space.
Yes, the great pillars of European and American culture. Yeah. The cab.
Yeah, the grand icons of the world.
Yeah.
It does. There's a lot of things there. One, I like the premise and the inciting thing being like the idea of that, that silly mundane star chart thing that, so many people like, I
waste their money on.
I probably had a star in the star registry like bought for me when I was a kid or something like that. I don't remember. But the idea that like, oh, some civilization kind of gets that in their head that, oh, this is a legally binding thing. There is also this weird thing of like, okay, Belinda owns the star, but like we went to a planet, not a star.
Yeah.
So there is that like, but what are we doing here? Whatever. But there's just the fun idea to it. And then, yeah, because of the timey-wiminess of everything, which again, I like that Belinda's basically like, what are you say? What am I, 6? Timey-wimey? What do you mean?
I like that there's somebody who's one, like it's like you said, it's like a Donna, somebody who's calling the doctor out for his BS. Or just his whimsical kind of like jokey nature. Mm-hmm. She calls him out for like, hey, didn't that person trust you?
Yeah.
And she's dead.
I'm of two minds on the Sasha 55 thing. I love that like she's almost set up almost to be a punchline of like we immediately find out, okay, the doctor's been, she's basically been a companion for the doctor in the 6 months that he's been on this planet. And yeah, she's the one he wants to be the companion basically. And he's going to show her the stars. But like we find that out and it's basically just the curse of like, she's one day away from retirement and immediately dies. I like the contrasting side of that. A lot of complaints or issues I think people had of the last season of this version of the Doctor is that because he cries so much and is so emotionally vulnerable, it loses impact and loses meaning. So when that happens again here, obviously they couldn't necessarily course correct because of when they were filming this in relation to when everything else had already been done. But it does like I was laughing on two fronts. I was laughing on like, oh, this poor character who's been just set up to be the, the cannon fodder, in a in like a 1 or 2 line throwaway thing, and then the doctor's reaction being so immediate and like, okay, I appreciate that Shooty's character has that the doctor has lived with this character for 6 months, but we haven't. So like, you immediately crying about them after all the other things we've seen you immediately cry about is like, okay. I'm not going to be the person that jumps and says like, we need a more closed off doctor, because I think we've had plenty of that. So
Plenty,
I'm
we're
fine with
good.
this doctor being
Yeah.
like emotionally open and vulnerable and crying.
Somebody
like
cared
that.
about died. It's
But-
okay that he cried.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But it there is a law of diminishing returns, I think, of like, okay, if we see it happen every time, then when it should really impact him and matter to him and us as the audience, it might feel lessened if that time comes.
I think it becomes a matter of, I think it's less of diminishing returns and not putting in the emotional investment.
Yeah, sure.
I think, does it make sense that the doctor would cry there? Absolutely it does. He knew this woman for 6 months. That's longer than some companions. And he mourns her. And it's okay that he cries to it. But for us as the audience, there's been zero investment made by us into this character, so their passing means nothing to us.
Yeah.
And so I think that, for me, that is the bigger, like, I would say that's the bigger takeaway. Like, the crying works when there's emotional investment by us as the audience, not just the doctor.
Yeah.
Both have to occur for that to actually mean something.
I also want to shout out, I love it when the very first time we see it, when the robots kill the cat. I love the way this like disintegration works, of like, it freezes them and we see like the not full disintegration, but like we see, oh, they're immediately dead, but like there is a spirit of their figure for another half beat or something like that. I just liked the visual of how that was represented in this, and yeah, I thought it was very funny when like just immediately they kill a cat, just like, oh my god, that wasn't my cat. There is a fun, weird like time flux thing to this, or the schwam or whatever they're calling it, I don't remember, where something happened on her way there that then sent them back to get Alan, and so Alan's been there for X number of years. The doctor's got thrown back in time, so he's been there 6 months by the time she arrives, all this stuff. So there's an interesting thing there, but I'm worried that it's leaning a little too heavily into the idea that Clara was a mystery before she was a character, something like that. I'm a little worried that there's a mystery around Belinda Chandra, and I mean, we even had it last year with Ruby Sunday, like the mystery of Ruby Sunday over the character of Ruby Sunday. I think Belinda sets herself apart a little bit or at least because she is like standoffish and pushes back against the doctor in this first episode, and then a little bit in the second. And I'll be curious to see kind of how that relationship continues to shape out and evolve. But yeah, I'm always wary when like the overarching mystery of the season is so innately tied to the companion, because it feels like that's the thing they're focused on instead of making the companion a three-dimensional character.
Yeah.
But hey, that gets directly into the second episode. And Lux. I will also say I'm never the biggest fan of the plot point, we can't go back to this point in time, so we've got to go the long way around. And this being the long way around of like, we're going to go to 1952 in Miami, and then we're going to find a path from there. It's like, okay, well, if you just can't go to London in May 24th, 2025, go to London a week earlier. Do quite literally the Back to the Future, like, I'm going to give myself a week, go back then kind of thing. It's the same issue that I always have with like why the Doctor can't go back to like the 1920s New York, where the pawns are thrust back into. It's like, okay, then go to New Jersey and walk across the like, you can find a way to do this. So I'm never a big fan of that when they basically don't explain it. And maybe, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe they will come back later and Belinda will call out the doctor and be like, why didn't we just do this? And the doctor goes, I should have thought of that.
It'd be great if we got something like that. I agree with you. I'm not the biggest fan of these like frozen moments in time that you can't go back and fix. It feels creatively limiting, but I think the premise of a locked point in time, like they can get to it, they're just having to take this long way around. I appreciate it, especially when the next episode we get is immediately a confrontation with another one of these Whovian eldritch gods.
Yeah, the deities of the pantheon kind of thing. I love Lux personally.
It's fantastic, just a fantastic character.
This, the episode as a whole, I think is probably my favorite of this version of Ncuti's era so far. Up even above Rogue and Boom, which I think were the standouts of last season. I would say so. There was just a ton of fun here. The animation of Lux and the amount that Lux is in it is phenomenal and incredible, and especially like when they start warping him and in 3D and stuff like that. It's like, oh, they put the resources behind this in a way that, like you go back and look at like the CG from early 2005 Doctor Who, or especially back in the old series, like, oh, they never could have done this before. It's the same kind of logic they had for like why they couldn't do the Dot and Bubble episode in the past. Like it just wouldn't have worked. So I thought they this is a ton of fun. Alan Cumming is a ton of fun as Mr. Ringading, and the hokiness that he has that turns into that menace is a great cold open of just kind of like him coming out of the screen, even if we even though I had seen that crawling out of the screenshot from the trailers and stuff, it's very clear why they put it in the trailers because it's a great.
It's a great tease.
It just also is like a great version of the like horror episodes. Like you are scared for the characters. They get stuck in this like in this meta world of like they're animated. Then as they kind of flesh themselves out, they become more 2.5D and then 3D and then fully realized, but then they still gotta like climb out of the animated world, so they climb into the fake movie theater where the cop comes in and the racial tension that was teased earlier in the episode really comes to light before the doctor realizes that,
it's an NYPD. Not Miami-Dade.
The continuity here is terrible. You got to try harder. And then the big talking point of this episode, obviously, being like they come out of the TV into the Whovian fans' living room kind of thing.
I'm just gonna put it out here. Weirded me the hell out.
Yeah.
You literally were sitting right behind me.
I watched the episode Monday, I think, and it was immediate like, I can't wait to talk about this episode because I loved that sequence so much and it was so fun. And so when I heard you were watching it, I was like, I'm going to be out there to like experience Cameron's reaction to this. So yeah, just sitting there.
It was a big old WTF moment. Like out loud, I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I freaked out a little bit about it. I'm like, this is just so weird and so trippy. The meta commentary that they did on it, the meta commentary on the fandom of like this idea and concept of like what does it mean to be part of a creative universe, like as a member of the fandom, as a member of the people watching. It's a great touch on that, and it's also a little bit of Russell T Davies' love letter to the fandom, a little bit being like, hey, I hear you, I see you guys out there, I know your favorite episode is blank, I know like all this stuff, I know how much you guys love this. Here is a little bit of a love letter to the fans. And I think they chose very well. Like I think the Doctor Who fan base is one of the like broadest reaching, diverse fandoms that I've ever like seen out there. When it comes to it, like there's just any time that I've ever seen anybody online going over stuff that is inherently just like Doctor Who, there is a level of diversity, a level of inclusion, a level of, being what the Doctor stands for and being what Doctor Who stands for, which is the idea of inclusivity. And being one of the best parts about this episode, I felt, was actually the beginning when like the absolute point out of they're at the diner and Belinda is just like, oh, what, like, I'm confused about what's going on. And he goes, it's 1952. Blacks shouldn't even, it's segregated here. Blacks shouldn't even be allowed in, like, at the diner. And he goes, and he looks over at her and says, and that includes you.
That includes you, yeah. Yeah, like, their ignorance doesn't make the distinguishing factor there.
Nope. And I loved that it was just like a young kid who the mom says, if you don't mind. And he's like, nobody's around. It's fine. I think that it all speaks to the level of like progress that a major city like Miami does have inherently in it, especially with the younger generation. And I think it also speaks to the fact that like this level of racism was institutional and not necessarily a blanket thing that applied for everybody.
Yeah.
It is it is a great look at late night 50s diner, low income, low class people sharing a space and being understanding, especially with a grieving mother who is just like, if I can talk about my son for one day, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like she's clearly never gotten over it. And we find out later it's only been a few months, but like still that's it's not only been a few months. It's been a few months since he
her
disappeared.
Child and 14 other people just disappeared in this movie theater. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the horror elements that we love about Doctor Who are all in this episode. Fantastic acting from top to bottom. Fantastic just ideas behind like the idea of the animation stuff. Everything about it was great, but what I love most about it is, I'm a lore nerd. Like expounding upon a throwaway first Doctor era, mystery conundrum of like, what does it mean for these gods outside of the universe? And then for Russell T Davies to be like, well, what happens if I bring these ideas into the universe? And playing with it, you get things like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like Omega at some point out of Russell T Davies' latest run of bringing in some like real old school Doctor stuff into this. But yeah, the idea of bringing in the Toymaker in last season, the Maestro in last season. Now we get Lux. And it's also Death.
Yeah, they folded Death in last season as well.
I love that we have. It's like, well, what can like the Daleks don't threaten the Doctor, the Cybermen don't threaten the Doctor. What threatens the Doctor? Oh, how about we go to the only time in the Doctor's history that he's genuinely been afraid, like truly afraid for his own life and for like in general, it's just like fear. And it goes to these gods, these ideas of like what's higher than the Doctor himself, the idea of a concept becoming real. The gods of play, the gods of music, the god of light now, Lux. It's just such a fascinating look at it. And don't make me laugh. Like these things, the clues that are given to the Doctor for him to realize it. And the first thing he does, tells Belinda, you have to get back.
Run, yeah.
Run. Yeah. Run. Like, it is... I love how seriously Nishida has done such a great job of bringing a level of gravitas and fear to these greater beings that separates them from the monster of the week. I adore that. I love that. Also, shout out to... okay, what are you, Scooby? Like, oh, you're real Scooby-Doo now, aren't you? He goes... Please, girl, I'm Velma.
Yeah.
Like, yes. And then later calls her Freddy. I love it. I love it so much. This is the one I think that solidified for me. I do like Belinda as a companion. Because not only does she challenge the Doctor, she is a level of shared competence with him. Because she's a nurse. She's an intelligent, educated woman. And it really shows in this episode, even though she's completely out of her element in a different time period, a different country, dealing with it. But there is a level of, she does share things with the Doctor that is fun and exciting. The banter is fun and exciting. And she comes in clutch at the end, helps the Doctor out. Shout out to, of course, the theater owner who, shout out to his wife.
Yeah.
I love his wife.
He's just the projectionist. I don't think he owns the theater, but yeah.
The projectionist, his wife, the whole, like, why are you letting, it's like, because I get to see my dead wife. And for it to be him being like, she goes, I saw your fingers. I know you're a smoker. It's like, nurse would pick that up right away. And he was down there, and who hands him the matches? It's his wife. And it's okay to let go. It's okay. Yeah. Like, it's time to go. And for him to then make that sacrifice, it's just overall just absolutely phenomenal. I also love that we get the toy maker has the toys and everything that like follow his commands. The maestro has music itself, the notes coming to life and like strangling people and stuff. And now we get to see like projectors and film and light. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. I love the visual effects of Lux. I love Alan Cumming as Lux. He's perfect for it. Just absolutely perfect. That able to slip into menacing from being like jolly and joyful. Also shout out to the kid being like, is that Mr. Ring-a-Ding?
Yeah.
And also what a great way of beating him. Like how do you beat something that you can't beat? Okay, you just give it what it is in excess. And just a really brilliant way of how to defeat the god.
Which is a like there's a lot of like season 3 callbacks in these couple episodes. Like Martha Jones was also a nurse that the doctor kind of meets in a hospital. We get kind of that little sequence. And then one of the first adventures they go on takes them back to the founding of Torchwood, which was also a werewolf story, where the way they end up beating the werewolf is by funneling moonlight directly into the werewolf. And Martha in that says like, but like, how is this working? They need like, and the doctor at that point, also in a Russell T. Davies story, says we're 70% human, or we're 70% water. That doesn't mean we can't drown, kind of thing. Versus now we're 60% water. And it's like, what happened to the other 10% of our water? But also, do you realize that you've just said the exact same line and used the exact same Deus Ex Machina in 2 episodes of Doctor Who? Or is that a deliberate choice, or is that just Russell T. Davies kind of having that as an idea and thinking it's clever and forgetting that he already did that clever thing 20 years ago? I feel like somebody on the continuity team would have called him out on it, so I imagine it's intentional. But yeah, that's definitely a thing that people kind of identified and called out. And even like in the moment when I was watching, I was like, that feels like a thing I've already heard the Doctor say before. And sure enough, yes. Going back to the fun meta scene, I agree. I think it is a fun love letter to the fans and to the community, in a way that could have easily been a little bit more sour. And maybe there's a little bit of a bite to it of like, why does everybody think Blink's the best? Blink's one Steven wrote. Like, don't you think one of the ones I wrote is better? No, Blink's the best.
Taking the piss out of himself with that too.
Yeah.
Like, good stuff.
But I love like one of the moments I love in there, and like it's a mix of like the cheesy. I mean it's a combination of the music and a cheesy bit of writing or whatever. But it got me both when I originally watched it and when I was just watching it again with you. Like they do a great job of like setting us up and making us care about those characters effectively because they are us in the brief time that we have on screen with them, where when they're having this realization of like, we're the kind of characters that don't have last names. When you leave, we're gone. We like, it's okay. We're not dying. We never lived to begin with, kind of thing. And the music's swelling and they're like, but it's okay because of you. I met my best friends, kind of thing, is like a beautiful sentiment and a moment, and reminds me of like getting to talk about this with you or Logan, or when I went and saw the 50th anniversary special with a bunch of my friends back when I was doing like back in the theater community stuff. We went and all saw that down at the AMC downtown, and like I had that little circle of friends that were my Whovian friends, and we could talk about and nerd out and stuff like that. And so I love that. Yeah, it is. Hey, this community, like when their heart is in the right place, it does a lot of cool stuff and is a beautiful thing. And so yeah, the fact that they help, even if it is in a like tongue in cheek, like I can't believe like you saw it, right? They told us the ending of the show, kind of like the little meta thing there. Or the little gag about like, oh, I knew it was going to happen. I saw it leaked online. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Those little fun tongue-in-cheek things. And then I love that, yeah, like we also get this like post-credits scene with them where even before like the credits are rolling, you can see in the credits they all have last names. It's Hassan Chowdhury, Lizzie Abel, and Robin Gosage. And so there's a nice little moment where like you can see them and then they start commenting and the camera pans out and you get a very rare post credits or mid credits, scene here in Doctor Who with those characters living on and having this moment where they realize they lived on and laugh. And there's a fun, I like if they end up leaning into this, I think that will be an even funner twist on what has happened. But one of the gods that was mentioned in the Pantheon in last season was, let me get this right, the threefold deity of malice and mischief and misery.
I'm super curious about what that is.
So if the three of them end up being another member of this Pantheon.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think, and like have a later reveal or a return, especially because they've already announced / teased like one of the episodes later this season is basically a big Eurovision song contest, but like space future Eurovision kind of thing. So if that somehow ties into these characters returning and kind of like this is all happening at their whim, I think there's additional potential fun to be had there of like, oh, like we liked these characters and you've turned them into the baddies now, boo, but good for you. It's the stuff we love about wrestling and all that stuff. So
yeah,
if they end up going that route, I think that'll be very funny. But if not, otherwise, like if they don't, cool, this fun little trio of characters now can live on in Whovian lore and have their own Whovian stories or whatever happens with them. So yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I want to call out here. Obviously, we get kind of the on the whole Miss Flood side of things. We have the fact in the first episode that Mrs. Flood is the neighbor of Belinda Chandra as well, and is kind of like watching. And when the Doctor kind of appears, she's like, I gotta go. You didn't see me.
Yep.
Again, kind of straight to the camera. And then in Lux, we see her again, indicating that she like is the first indication that she's it's already big enough that in the Robot Revolution episode, we're now seeing that she's a neighbor to a second companion of this Doctor.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me as well.
What's going on there? How's that tie into everything? But now that we see her in 1952. The first time we've seen her kind of out of time is this element.
No, we saw her in 1960. In the 1960s, she served tea.
No, that was Mrs. Flood is different than.
Oh, you're right. Sorry,
Susan Triad.
Sorry about that. My bad. I confused the two of them there for a moment. You're right.
Susan Triad was like the mystery, like why does she keep popping up character in season 1. Whereas like in season 1 we saw Mrs. Flood at like the church on Ruby Road and then again at the end of the season kind of thing. But yeah, this season she's very much kind of she keeps popping up. What's going on here? Does this lend credence to this theory that she's the Ronnie? In the previous season, she was like every time we saw her, she was in like a different character's like kind of established attire. She was like wearing Clara's, outfit in one episode. She was wearing the Ronnie outfit in another episode. And I forget the third one, but it was basically, oh, that's another get up that is, we can kind of identify which character, companion, or whoever she's cosplaying as. I don't know if they've done if they've found any kind of commonality to her costumes this season, but the fact that she just is a constant presence this season is also the new mystery on that front. What's going on there? The like, oh, you want to watch this, dearie? It's but careful, limited time run, how'd they do that? Oh, it's all trick of the light kind of thing, being a nice little meta gag on Lux being the titular feature of the episode. I'm interested to see where they continue to go with the Mrs. Flood of it all. and what's her deal? In addition to what's going to happen on May 24th, that destroys the world, or
Yeah, real curious about it.
Seems to, or maybe it's just like, oh, what we saw was like a little ship model or something that blew up and Earth's just fine. Who knows?
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, I really enjoyed these couple episodes. I thought it was definitely a stronger opening to the season compared to last season's Space Babies. Just
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You were such not a fan of Space Babies.
yeah, didn't do it for me. So Robot Revolution, while still a simpler episode, was fun. I will say, since I didn't talk about it, I loved the reveal of the every ninth word and how that was kind of like you can put together what's happening before you know it's deliberately every ninth word. You get this idea that the Doctor is sliding in words for this subliminal message before we realize it's every ninth word. I don't like that it basically gets dropped after that, and like
Yep.
It
comes up again with Al at the end, where it's revealed that every ninth word that he has ever said is also part of that.
Yeah, but there was plenty that like gets said between the characters, and even I think Al in like his opening spiel that didn't.
Maybe I didn't go back and piece it together that much.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it was there and apparent when they wanted it to be, but
hey, the Russell T Davies special, or really the Doctor Who special. It's important when we choose for it to be important.
Yeah. And then I, as a fan of the Pixar movie WALL-E, absolutely loved the Polish robot.
Absolutely,
very much being a companion to the Burn E robot that you have in that is constantly trying to keep things clean and constantly being thwarted by WALL-E's antics. And then he just kind of basically kills Alan as a egg and sperm. So yeah,
Hey,
there's this weird thing that we get with like the Doctor having in that moment, seen Belinda's live, kind of through.
Yeah, there's a lot of hints on about that one as well. Like there's a lot of like interesting mystery about that.
Yeah, it was a cool little like it has the same kind of vibe of when Clara got thrown through the Doctor's timeline thing.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see if we see it manifest in any meaningful ways, or if it was just that's a cool way to innately make the Doctor interested in this character, and so that's why she's going to become the new companion. But otherwise, I thought it was a really cool shot. It was like that's okay, interesting. And then I like that they already kind of addressed the Monday Flynn of it all. Like, hey, I met a future descendant of yours, in the 35th century or whatever it was, to right away. That it not being like a bigger mystery of tying things together, it was just kind of like a one and done. And maybe we'll like revisit it a little bit, but I think we don't need to go into it. But they also don't need to like pretend it doesn't happen or it didn't exist or anything like that. So, lots of fun, and I will be curious to see where we go from here in the weeks ahead. Sad it is another, only 8 episode season, but looking forward to seeing what we got nonetheless. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm good. I'm looking at looking over these last 2 episodes and really talking about them. I'm just excited for the rest of the season. I can't wait to see where things go. I could watch Nishudi Gatwa as the Doctor for forever. I've just continued to find him just so unbelievably fun and fascinating. Mm-hmm. And his take on the characters just continues to be one of my favorites. Depending on how the rest of his time as the Doctor goes, he could end up being my favorite Doctor. Which is crazy to think because, I've gone like normally your first Doctor is always your favorite. Not necessarily for me. My first Doctor was Eccleston.
Yeah, same.
So, and Tennant ended up becoming Tennant is still my favorite to this day, but Nishidi keeps climbing that rank. He keeps climbing real hard. Each episode, he comes out being like, I love him more and more as the Doctor. And I don't know if that's just because we finally get to like see the Doctor kind of ditch a lot of the the trauma trunk got left with Tennant.
Yeah,
and
he's certainly no longer in the like. I mean, like we get a little bit of it in Lux of like we can't go back to Gallifrey. I'm the last of the Time Lords. Like that's the thing that like he has to confront to make him a little bit more 3-dimensional. But yeah, I like that he isn't burdened by that in the way that everything was dampened by the Time War for the first few Doctors of this era.
Yeah, to the point where we had a war doctor. Like, it was a lot, and I'm glad that we've like moved past it. Yeah, overall, like, yeah, I think that these two episodes have been fantastic. I can't wait for the rest of the season. Looking forward to the next episode. Can't wait for more.
Yeah. All right. Well, our report card we grade from A+ to F. What do you want to give these couple episodes of Doctor Who?
I mean, A+. Like,
yeah.
It's even like, did you even give Space Babies a B?
I mean, I Space Babies probably got like a B or a B- or something like that. I don't remember. And I don't even know, like, because we did.
Oh, we did like
we probably did the first few episodes, I think.
No, I thought we did the.
We did the whole season.
We did the whole season,
and we did do like a ranking of all of the episodes.
Yeah.
When we did like the full season thing, and I think we'll probably do the same thing here. But yeah, it's I'd say it's an A+ for me as well. I think Robot Revolution a little bit less so, but
yeah, sure.
Lux certainly kind of like elevates everything else to an A+ thus far as well.
Getting the 1-2 punch of Belinda's introduction as being her introduction as a companion, and then her next episode immediately solidifying her as a companion, I felt was a quick transition, but done effectively. So,
yeah. Also, shout out to the costume design for who Belinda's attire in Lux is very specifically an homage to Anita from West Side Story.
Oh, cool. Also, shout out to costumer who took Nishuti's striped suit from the 1960s London episode and turned it into the outfit he was wearing at the beginning of episode 1. With the vest and the skirt and the pants and everything. It like crazy, like basically turned that jacket into a skirt. And just like got like that was, I'm like, this is crazy how good this looks. Like, it's crazy good.
Yeah.
Because he has that plain white tee underneath, and I'm just like, just goddamn, like, yes.
He also rocks a bow tie in Lux, of course.
Yes, he does.
Are cool.
Bow ties are. I'm sorry, I can't say that seriously. I've never found bow ties cool. I'm sorry.
Well,
that's a lie. Actually, I wore a bow tie almost exclusively as a child, which is why I have an aversion to them as an adult.
All right. Extra credit. Other suggestions if you like this. This was an interesting one because in the past a lot of this has been like each of the Doctor Who specials has been like its own entry. But this time around, the other suggestions are Andor, The Mandalorian, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Loki, Miss Marvel, The Orville, because we're on Hulu, What If, and the one other Doctor Who suggestion, Doctor Who Special 5, aka Joy to the World.
So what you're saying is we have, it's like, oh, here's all the best that Disney Plus has to offer, basically.
Here's all the other TV things we want you to watch on Disney Plus, especially Andor. Go watch the other thing that's about to debut right now, kind of thing. And yeah, like if you really want Doctor Who, you know where to find Doctor Who stuff. We don't need to recommend it for you here. But yeah, extracurriculars. You watching anything else on Disney Plus? You caught any of Andor yet?
Not yet. I'm about to. I've been on a backlog of television ever since I decided I didn't want to be super bummed out by The Last of Us in the most recent episode.
Sure.
I'm like, I got enough of my life right now. I don't need to get bummed out right now. So Andor is probably up on the docket later this weekend.
It should be, because we're going to discuss it for next week.
It's next week. Yeah, I know. That's what happened this week. It's like, what did I watch last night?
Yep.
So I'll be watching the first 2 episodes of Andor this weekend.
3 episodes.
Sorry, 3 episodes of Andor.
Yeah. So it's 4 weeks, 3 episodes each week, and basically each of those 3 episode blocks is like there's like a time jump of a year between each of those episodes. So like this week's block is a year removed from season 1, and it's 4 BBY, and we go on kind of this isolated adventure, and then this coming weeks will be like 3 BBY, and we'll see the next chapter of Cassian's story and all that stuff. So I watched the first or the first 3 episodes, the trio, Tuesday night when they dropped, and I am so glad Andor is back. It is such a great freaking show. Makes me I might just like go back and rewatch season 1 this weekend just to get a full Andor fix. Because hot dang, they do some good Star Wars. And I think that's the only thing I watched. I will say I did also watch, not on Disney Plus, but I did watch the like Doctor Who Unleashed on these couple episodes, kind of the making of, like, half hour each kind of thing. You can find them on YouTube. And it was cool little like behind the scene nuggets, little interviews and stuff. In particular, in the Lux episode, they talk to a lot of the cast of like, who would you like if you could be an animated character, who would you be? And Shudigat was like, I'd be a Pokemon. Do you want to guess which Pokemon he'd be?
Ooh, that's a Oh, I don't know how old exactly he is and what generation of Pokemon he would have been obsessed with. I'm going to say Totodile because that's my favorite.
I believe he says Bulbasaur. OGs, yeah.
Okay.
The OG Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, all right.
Yeah.
Listen, nobody can be perfect.
Yeah. So
There had to be something wrong with the shooty, and it's this. Picking Bulbasaur as the Pokemon you'd be.
Bulbasaur is the OP Pokemon in Red and Blue. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, Charmander's cool and all, and leads to Charizard, great. Bulbasaur's Leech Seed and Sleep Powder are like all the combo you need to weaken all the enemies, put them to sleep, and then catch every Pokemon. So if your goal is to catch them all, Bulbasaur is your guy. He was my guy. I stand by it.
All right.
I was also the kid that I've talked about this. I talked about it in my 40 years of gaming piece. I would replay the first opening hour and a half of that game 6 times in order to give myself and my sister all of the starters. I would choose a starter, get up to the point where I could trade it, and basically trade a Rattata to the other save file.
Yeah.
And basically just make it so each of us had all 3 going in. So, but Bulbasaur was the one I was like made the real one that would not stop obeying me if I got him too overpowered or anything like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to those fun little behind the scenes tidbits and whatnot. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of That D Plus Show. Thank you, Cam, for joining me to chat all about these first couple episodes of Doctor Who. I'm sure come the end of the season, we'll come back here and do a full season wrap-up for the series. You follow Cameron at revcabot.bsky.social. Anything you want to give a shout-out to there, Cam?
Yeah, I want to give a massive shout-out to our most recent episode of That Nerdy Site show. We talked about Split Fiction, as well as some of the other games that we were playing.
Actually, no. This week's episode was we did WrestleMania.
Oh shoot! Sorry about that. What did I blinked on it, which is stupid because I have something about WrestleMania like up in front of me right now, like a video that I'm gonna watch later. My bad. Yeah, no, totally forgot that. Swap that out. My bad. We talked about WrestleMania and our ups and downs, as it were. Shout out to Simon Miller. Our highlights and our lowlights of that show.
Yeah. You can follow me at trevorjstarkey.bsky.social. In addition to the That Nerdy Site show, I will also shout out our Let's Play series on Split Fiction that Cameron alluded to. You can find that on youtube.com/thatnerdysite. This week's released parts 3 and 4. We will have parts 5 and 6 coming next week, which will round out the 6-part series for our playthrough of that game. Lots of fun in that. Cameron is immediately a Hazelight fan, so it's fun introducing him to the ever evolving gameplay of that game. And
Split Fiction fucking rules.
There you go. I'll also shout out, as I said, next week's episode will be Andor. I don't know if we'll have had the opportunity to get both the first 6 episodes in for next week, but we will definitely talk at least about the first 3 episodes
Yep.
and kind of the beginning of this season of Andor for next week's episode. So I'm certain I will find time to watch the other 3 episodes next week, but I don't know if that'll be if Cameron will have time to squeeze all of them in. So
If I can do the first 3 this weekend before they come out, the next 3 come out next week, I should be able to get those in on between Tuesday and Wednesday.
yeah, that's certainly the hope. But it is, it's 45, 50 minutes an episode kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the tight.
Yeah, it's a good 2.5 to 3 hour movie each week that we're getting of Star Wars, which is just awesome. It's
pretty great.
Yeah. Shout out to Andor, which will be our topic for next week's episode. You can follow all of us over at That Nerdy Site or go to thatnerdysite.com for all the latest from us. Once again, if you like what you heard, please remember to like, rate, review, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends, all that fun stuff. Thank you for joining us. As always, stay nerdy and be good to each other. Class dismissed.